What it is, what it is, what it is, what it is, what it is. Come on now. If you wanna go and take a ride with me, we three willing in the four with the goldies. Oh, why do I live this way? Hey, must be the money. If you wanna go and get high with me, smoke a L in the back of the Benzie. Oh, why must I feel this way? Hey, must be the money. In the club on a late night, feeling right, looking, trying to spot something.
Welcome to Birds and Swords. It is 2001. Alyssa came over for 2001. Hi, how's it going? How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
For it to be 2001 all night.
All night long. Let's do it.
We were excited. We were throwing around the idea of doing years in gaming. I felt like I had this big revelation of this huge idea of like, oh my God. We were texting about, I don't even remember what it was. Something came up to where I looked up the games of 2007 or something.
Oh, yeah. You just asked, you're like, what do you think the best year for gaming was? And then that's when we kind of went, yeah.
Yeah, so I felt like I had this big, huge original idea, and I'm sure it's been done a zillion times. I did not go look in fear of like risking stealing ideas from other people. So I'm sure it's been done in both print media and podcasts and everything. But we decided to pick out some of our favorite years, and we're going to go through those years. Maybe a console released, maybe it was just a bunch of killer games coming out, which is usually the case and what we based most of this on. So tonight we are going to start with 2001. We're going to go into the pop culture. We're going to hear some stupid Billboard hits as far as our segue music, and we're just going to celebrate 2001. Before we get to that, though, we also talked about doing our birth years. And we're okay with telling everybody how old we are, I suppose.
Yeah.
I am. I'm old. She's not as.
Getting there.
So my birth year, can you guess my birth year or did I tell you?
It's on the document.
It's on the document. It is on the document.
Yeah. So I have a pretty good guess.
Okay. So what year was Micah born?
1982.
1982. What a year.
Baby.
I was born in the summer. I was born in July. And the St. Louis Cardinals won their 9th World Championship 3 months later.
Wow.
In October. Fun fact. So 1982, as far as what was relevant, there was no NES yet. So it was Ataris and Intellivisions and going to the arcade and dumping quarters. So that is my era. Some of the games that came out in my year, 1982, Donkey Kong Jr.
Aw.
Dig Dug, all-time classic.
Wow.
Ms. Pac-Man, which is probably the highest. That's the one everybody's gonna know.
Yeah.
Plus, that's everybody's favorite Pac-Man, I feel like, too.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It's so fun.
And is it just, I guess the boards were better, or people liked the bow on her.
I liked the bow, personally.
Pitfall, which I've actually played a remake of. I don't think I played the original. Do you know Pitfall? Like swinging across the...
Oh, yeah. My mom had that. I used to watch her play that.
Gaps on vines and stuff.
Yeah.
Pole Position, which is one of the first racing games. One of the worst games of all time, but a cult following kind of thing. E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Oh my gosh. Did you hear that they found the games?
Did they?
Yeah. I thought so. I feel like I saw an article.
Can you tell that story, I guess, about E.T.?
Oh, do I know it that well? It was like one of the worst games ever, and they couldn't sell the copies, so they just buried them. And they like buried them into the earth to like never be found.
Why was that the decision?
I don't know. And everybody thought it was just a legend that they did that. But I think they found them.
Started finding them.
Yeah, so
So E.T. 1982 came out for Atari 2600, so that was just a buried cartridge. And I guess people didn't care about like landfill rules and stuff. They're like, fine. Because most games weren't saving then. The cartridge-based games that saved have a battery in it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Atari games did. So that was 1982 as well. A game called Joust, which is pretty popular. Burger Time, you might have heard of. Q*bert is 1982. Like I said, a lot of this, the only thing you were doing at home was on the Atari, which I still don't feel like that was like mainstream to have an Atari in your house in 1982.
No, I feel like my mom didn't get one till like late 90s, probably.
Yeah, it's like rich people had them, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I was a day old, so I don't really remember it super well. But it wasn't like a mainstream, and we'll kind of get into that in a minute. But it wasn't, video games weren't at the front of everybody was doing it kind of thing. It was just becoming popular in the home. I think arcades were still like ruling the roost then. There was a Star Wars game. There was a Tron game. I think the actual Tron movie might have came out in 1982. Popeye. So mine is pretty crazy as far as taking you back in time. Mario didn't exist yet. Sonic didn't exist yet. You know, none of that stuff was
You kind of got here just in time for video games to just totally unfold in front of you.
Yes.
It was like perfect, honestly. The year of the Atari.
Yeah, I have a good timeline because when I first started getting into gaming was when NES and Super Nintendo and Sega and all that was happening. So I was around for all that.
Yeah.
Up to now, obviously. So yeah, that's 1982 for me. Do you want to talk about 1994? You're like, I don't know, because I wasn't alive and I haven't played those.
Yeah.
1994 is your year, and it was amazing.
Yeah, I haven't played a lot of them, but so if you want to go through them, I think you'll have more to say, but...
Okay, so some pinnacles. I do have something to say. Super Metroid is 1994. Donkey Kong Country. So those are two staples of those franchises. Super Metroid, arguably the best Metroid game. Donkey Kong Country, man, that was like the first time we saw like 3D rendered characters on a screen. Like it was bananas.
Yeah.
Like how good that game looked at that time. Like people were blown away. And that came out the year you were born. Final Fantasy VI. You know anything about 6?
No, I don't know anything about 6, I don't think.
Yeah, it's kind of one of the... I feel like people just pass over that one.
Yeah.
Sonic and Knuckles. So the Sega had been out for like 3 years. So I feel like Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo in 1994 were like at their peak. 3 years into their cycle, they were getting into homes. Also, one of my all-time favorites, Earthworm Jim. Have you ever played Earthworm Jim?
No.
You haven't?
No.
You ever seen it?
I feel like I've heard of it.
Oh man, it's so good. It has such good humor. I mean, it's a puzzle platformer, I guess is what you would call it. But it's just the humor and the kind of enemies and the art and stuff. I feel like you'd really like it, actually.
Okay.
It's probably clunky now, but...
Yeah. Remaster.
Remaster Earthworm Jim. I think it came out on... There was a version that came out on the first Xbox. Like, that's how long it lived, at least.
Wow.
It had some sequels.
Wow.
So good. Such good humor. Sonic 3, which is one of the best Sonics. The original Tekken, 1994. So that's interesting. Another great one is The Lion King, and The Lion King is infamous for being super, super difficult.
Oh, yes.
Super difficult.
I have heard that.
And we've seen, there's been a remake, or not a remake, they've put it on disc as recently as like PS4, I think it was with Aladdin, I want to say, that came out like a year or two before that, I guess.
I feel like I watched a streamer play one where he has to like hop across the giraffe heads. Yeah.
I have beaten it. And I beat it like when it came out because in 1994 I was 12. I guess I didn't lead with that.
Yeah.
Like when you're 12, you're starting to figure out what you like about gaming and what kind of, it was all just really cool and it was all right in our face. So that was a perfect age for me. And I was also going to mention about 1994 since we brought up The Lion King. That's like an incredible year for movies.
1994?
Yeah, it was like The Lion King, Forrest Gump, Shawshank Redemption.
Wow.
Like, that's one of the infamous years for movies to come out. I didn't look it up ahead of time.
Yeah.
But seeing The Lion King game on there reminds me of that because the game came out the same year the movie did.
Oh.
And it is incredibly hard, but it's really, really fun. It's really, really fun. I think it's more of a controls thing. Like, everything's got to be perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Killer Instinct, which was a big deal for fighting fans. They kind of did the same thing one of the first games with like 3D character models. And that game was like, they played it in like tournaments and stuff. Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, that's a big deal. Also, another great fighting game. The very first Need for Speed, and it was called The Need for Speed.
The desire to go quick.
I don't remember playing that one. EA Canada. It came out on 3DO. We won't even get into those tiers of consoles. But you've got a killer year. Mega Man 5, Super Bomberman 2, Cruisin' USA came to consoles. Man, just killer. So that's what was going on in gaming. Was your mom likes to game? Did she kind of like stop when she had you? Or was she still gaming, you think?
She was still gaming. Well, she worked a lot after she had me, but once I got older and could like feed myself and stuff, I think she started picking it up again because my grandma gamed and that's what got my mom into gaming.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like when my mom was in high school, My grandma used to sit in front of the TV and play like the Nintendo or Atari or whatever they had. And then my mom got into it because of that. And my mom's brother, they used to fight over the console like kids do. And then I got into it watching my mom. So it's like a generational thing.
Yeah. I just wonder, man, she probably missed a good year of gaming in 1994.
Right.
She had you and didn't have time for that shit. 1994, your gaming year was definitely better than mine. Of course, state of the industry was just different. Well, like I said, tonight we're doing 2001. I kind of wanted to briefly run up to the timeline leading up to that because we did leave out some years. We wanted to keep this a little more modern and in eras where Alyssa is alive. So 1985, obviously a huge year for gaming. We'll start out there. We're not going to go back into the very, very beginning in the 70s. 1985 definitely revolutionized gaming because that's when the NES invaded homes, both in Japan and North America. And then that's when I feel like it started to become a mainstream thing.
Yeah.
Early on, it was still like the rich kids had it for the most part. I don't remember what the price points were or anything like that. I was 3 years old. But it became more of a staple in households because of games like Mario came out. It was launch title in 1985. What else was?
Duck Hunt?
Oh, Duck Hunt. Baseball. That's what the game's called.
Just baseball.
Yep. And along with baseball, there was also golf and tennis.
Nice.
And track and field.
Wow.
I don't know if track and field came out in 85, though. Excite Bike also came out in 1985 with it, and Ice Climber. So those are all... I mean, that's a huge year for gaming because that's really, without that year and that system and those games, we're not doing what we are now, probably. So I'm going to briefly mention some other years past 85 leading up to 2001. 1987 saw the first Double Dragon. Punch-Out came to the NES. Contra. Ooh. We got Punch-Out and Contra in the same year.
My mom used to play Punch-Out all the time.
She still does. I've seen her do it.
Oh, yeah. She kicked your
hang.
butt or something, or kicked the game's butt. Or
Yeah, we played like a retro version. Remember when they came out with there was like a Wii version, remember?
Yes, I do.
Did you guys have that?
I don't think so. Because you actually had to punch for it.
Yeah.
I don't think we had that one. I don't think so.
And anyway,
Final Fantasy.
That's a classic. Yeah, the original Final Fantasy is 1987.
Wow. The start to a revolutionary series.
The beginning of it all.
Yes.
The second Zelda, Adventure of Link, like the misfit of the whole series.
Yeah.
It's still good. Have you played it?
I have not.
I mean, it's totally different than anything else in the series. Dragon Quest II, I want to say the first one was 1985. I just didn't mention it. The first Metal Gear, which is a huge deal.
A lot of my friends like that game.
The first Mega Man. Man, it's just banger after banger after banger. Punch-Out, Contra, Final Fantasy, Phantasy Star, Metal Gear, and Mega Man all had their debuts.
A lot of starts to really good series that would go to like this day.
Yeah. So that's 1987. I've also got... Let's skip ahead to 1988, just the next year. Mega Man 2 came out right after that. I think the big one is Super Mario Brothers 3. Comes out in 1988. One of the best-selling, most popular games of all time, 1988. You were -6, I guess?
Yeah.
-6.
On my way.
I did play that one pretty right away. My cousin had it. I didn't have a Nintendo yet in 1988, and we'd played at my grandma's, and I have very fond memory. That's like where video games started for me, really.
Yeah.
Mario 3, probably.
Aw.
I was just a little guy.
You're a little guy.
The first Ninja Gaiden, and then Final Fantasy 2 right after.
Wow.
Oh, they were just releasing games every year. Altered Beast, another big one. The first Leisure Suit Larry. I did not know that series was that old. If we skip ahead to 1989, I'm not going to list off any games for that, but 1989 was huge because Sega Genesis came out and also the Nintendo Game Boy.
Ooh.
And I have fond memories of both of those systems. Those both dropped in 1989. And then we're into the 90s. So 1990, we got Super Mario World, which is my favorite Mario of all time. Mega Man 3, Dr. Mario.
Dr. Mario is what my grandma played. She was amazing at that game.
She like slinging the pills, huh?
Yes, she did.
Was she playing just like the computer, or was she playing against
she
like
just
your
played
mom and stuff?
I think she just played the computer. She was really good, like ridiculous.
Yeah, that was good. Had a really good soundtrack.
Yes.
Metal Gear got its sequel with Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. So that's cool. Ninja Gaiden 2 gets its sequel. Final Fantasy 3, which is one of the big ones, Final Fantasy 3. I think that's everybody's favorite, like, retro one.
Yeah.
If we fast forward to 1995, Sony PlayStation. I remember this first system, well, second system, first, like, mainstreamish system to use, like, CD discs. And that was definitely, I remember when that came out, that was definitely like only the rich kids had PlayStations.
Yeah.
So it must have had a really high price point at first. Because I remember playing like Mortal Kombat at a friend's house or something, and he had a lot of money. He was like, yeah, I got it for Christmas. I'm like, you lucky son of a bitch. The next year in 1996, Nintendo 64 comes out. That's a big deal. Did you have a 64? Hey, you're alive now. You're 2 years old.
Woohoo! I think we had a 64. I don't remember.
Obviously another huge deal. Super Mario 64 came out right alongside it. The original Tomb Raider is 1996. The original Quake is 1996. Mario Kart 64. The first Resident Evil. The first Crash Bandicoot.
Oh my gosh.
Duke Nukem 3D, which was actually a big deal. It's not the first Duke Nukem, but that was probably the best game in the series. Super Mario RPG to start their RPG series came out in 96. And then
Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow.
Red, Blue, and
Did
Yellow.
you play those?
No.
Oh, I played Yellow. I loved Yellow.
Pokemon till late in life.
Oh, it was
So how old were you when you started playing Pokemon?
I was little. It was because I got my Game Boy Advance Color for Christmas one year. It had to be, I had to be in like 6th grade. How old are you in 6th grade?
Like 12, I
Like
think.
12? I think I was about 12 when I got into Pokemon. Yeah. And I started with Emerald, but I went back and played Yellow and loved it. Loved it.
So that'd be like 2006. So you played those games a year after, or a decade after they came out.
Yeah. Well, I was a little young to start them.
But yeah, Pokemon Blue, or Red, Blue, and Yellow, 1996 also. Also the sequel to Donkey Kong Country, well, the third sequel, I guess, or the second sequel, Donkey Kong Country 3, which is actually my favorite one. You can play as Trixie Kong. She's really good. You can like float with her hair.
Oh, what?
The first Diablo, 1996.
Whoa.
The first Star Ocean, 1996. Parappa the Rapper. That's a good one. Everybody knows about that one. The first Wipeout 2097. Man, 1996 is probably better than 1994.
I didn't realize how far back some of these like legendary series went, to be honest.
Yeah. They all have their roots in the 90s, most of them. Let's go forward just 1 year to 1997. That's when we got GoldenEye 007 on the N64. Don't need to say anything else there. The first Turok, Star Fox 64. So obviously, Nintendo 64 was kicking all kinds of ass in 97. The original Fallout.
Oh, wow.
Bah, bah, bah. Wasn't near as popular at the time. PC nerds were up playing that one. Castlevania Symphony of the Night is most people's favorite Castlevania. That came out in 1997. Tomb Raider 2 got its sequel. I loved Tomb Raider 2. That was actually the first one I played. I didn't play the first one. I started with 2, so that's my core memory for Tomb Raiders 2. So good. That's the one where you can lock the butler in the refrigerator.
What?
Or whatever.
I did not know about
really
that.
Cool for the time. Well, when you like finish the game, or you're like, you like beat the game, but there's still like a epilogue, I guess. But you're back at like home mansion. The butler just like follows you around, and you have this big like walk-in cooler. And if you walk like a certain direction, a certain way, he'll follow you in, and you can just shut the door and lock him in there. And everybody thought that was the coolest thing. Final Fantasy 7.
Oh, the big one. The big one. Oh, 97.
So 97 was bitching as well.
Yeah.
We're getting close to 2001. Let's go 1998. We got the first StarCraft, the first Banjo-Kazooie. We got Fallout's follow-up with Fallout 2. We got the original Half-Life. Ocarina of Time.
That was a good one. That is a legendary one.
Yeah, most people's favorite Zelda.
Oh.
The original Baldur's Gate.
Oh.
1998. Resident Evil 2, which was probably the best. That's at least my favorite one. That one's 1998. Xenogears, which people are into. The first Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. And then they made like 4,000 Tom Clancy games after that. Metal Gear Solid. We got 1998. That was the first one that hit on the PS1. You could do all kinds of cool stuff. They utilized the tech really, really well. And then
Spyro.
Yeah, Spyro. Where did well, you saw it somewhere.
Spyro, that game was fantastic. I felt like ahead of its time.
Yeah, I see. I must have just skipped over it. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, so 1998 on the PS1. Did you play it? Nope, you're still 4 years old.
I played it way later.
Yeah.
I came on later.
I feel like
that one.
everybody's at least played it.
Yeah, it's a classic. Mario Party came out, the first one. That one's still going strong,
so
too.
That's Nintendo 64. Yep.
Yeah.
So 1998 was awesome as well. You can tell I picked the right year. I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then 2000, I'm not going to list off games for that either, but that's when the PlayStation 2 came out, and we all know how that went. PlayStation 2 is, if I had to rank my consoles, have we ever done that?
I don't know if we ranked the consoles. We briefly discussed, probably.
Yeah, PS2 might be my number one.
That one is
as
up
good
there
as
for
all
me.
the old stuff is. There were just so many games for it.
So many good games.
So many
and
life-changing.
And just like the way the
situations.
upgrade from the 1 to the 2 was, like the games just felt like, I just remember playing the 2 and thinking, games can't get better than this.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
It just felt so crazy playing the PlayStation 2.
I remember I was at a Best Buy and they had a kiosk, the first week it was out or whatever. And they showed Madden on it. And there were like reflections on their helmets or whatever. And it was just mind boggling.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, this thing's amazing. And it was pretty expensive too. I'll say it was like $300 when it came out or something.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't get it at launch. I didn't have that kind of money. But that came out in 2000 to start off the decade, and games weren't the same after that.
So true.
Let us take a break and come back with 2001. We're going to get into some life stuff, some pop culture stuff, and then we're going to talk about the games that came out that year. We will be back right after this.
You are listening to Micah and Alyssa on Birds and Swords. Please like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and smash that like button.
Looking to add to your outfit or home in a sustainable way? Look no further than Healthy Hemp Gear. Now partnered with Birds and Swords to bring you even closer to perfect solutions for your day-to-day life. Use code BNS, that's B&S, to get 15% off each order of hemp apparel and home goods, just for being an awesome listener. Go to healthyhempgear.com today to check out apparel that appreciates the earth and you.
Welcome back to 2001 with Birds and Swords.
That's hot.
Do you remember the Paris Hilton?
Yeah.
That was all the rage in 2001.
Yes.
What was that show called?
I don't know. I just remember she really blew up in 2001.
2001, That's Hot. What do you remember some of her other sayings?
No.
That was the most popular one because they spoofed that since. Man, what was that show? She was with the other girl. They lived like in a country house and the shock
I don't know.
Anyway.
I wasn't watching that.
That was 2001. Paris Hilton was dominating. Let's talk about how old we were and what we were doing. You start because you're younger.
All right. So I was in first grade. I was like 7. Yeah. I went to Barton Elementary. And I don't have a lot of memories from that age. I do remember getting...
7, so first grade, 7 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of just, unless you went on like family vacation, it's not like you have memories with your friends, I guess.
No,
really.
yeah. I remember getting stung by a bee and on the playground, and then nobody noticed, and everyone went in for recess, and I got locked out.
Oh,
I remember that.
that sounds like a vivid memory.
I know.
I believe you.
I feel like...
I'm pretty sure that happened.
Unless that was like a dream I had once, but I don't like, I guess probably we went camping a lot. That was probably a lot of what I was doing.
Yeah.
Camping and I didn't have friends, so
Yeah, that is weird. Like I said, unless it's like a family vacation, or
Yeah.
you broke an arm or got stung by a bee,
yeah.
you're not going to remember a ton. First grade, do you remember who your teacher was?
No.
No.
I don't. I don't remember. I barely remember Barton even. I remember, I think, third grade in Barton, but not first.
Is that
or
just
second.
in Kewaskum?
It's in West Bend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's over by where like skate country used to be.
Okay.
It was over in that area, kind of, a little
Gotcha.
further down.
Yeah. Was there? How was the playground? You remember the playground?
It was nice. It was nice. It was a good playground. I was climbing up the ladder and a bee was on the back of my knee. And when I bent my leg, I squished it. So it was my fault. But yeah, it was a nice playground. There's good monkey bars. I fell off a couple times.
I remember all my playgrounds. Do you remember all your playgrounds? It was really important. And there's a lot of memories on the playgrounds.
Yeah, I think I do remember. Yes. Yeah. And I remember other playgrounds too that like people took me to with their children, you know.
Yeah.
That's a big part of your childhood is what
I remember like getting mulch on our playground happened like in my elementary tenure.
Oh, mulch
Like,
was the best.
Like the playground switched from being like asphalt or rock or whatever
We
and
had
put
sand.
mulch around and some new equipment and stuff. That happened like when I was in elementary, and that was like a huge deal.
Yeah, mulch was the best because when you like fell off the swings and stuff, you were pretty okay.
Yeah.
It was it was.
When you're 7, though, I'm trying to think of what you do at recess when you're set. Lots of tag and stuff, I guess.
I didn't
Or
have
just
friends.
Going down the slides.
Yeah, I pretty much, I didn't play with like people. I just kind of did my own thing. As far as I can remember. That's hot. Oh my God. Wow.
So 7 years old. I, in 2001, was 18 years old. So I was graduating high school.
Whoa.
Which is crazy to think about our age gap.
Yeah.
then. So the year I graduated, you were in first grade. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But 2000,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, 2001 is my graduation year. I graduated middle of the pack probably. But I loved high school, and my senior year was the best part of that. I felt like I was popular enough to have the right friends and have a good time and have, what am I looking for? I don't know. Like it was easy for me. I was
Yeah.
lucky.
I love that for you.
Played sports and did that. I took art classes and stuff too.
It sounds like you got the full experience. That's kind of how Zach was too, I feel like. Yeah.
I partied and went out with the bang and everything. So 2001, 18. There were no playgrounds.
Wow. It's all about, timing because we couldn't have been friends when you were 18. It would have been weird.
Nope. Yeah, it'd been a little weird. I could have like babysat you, I guess.
That would have been so freaking weird.
Can you imagine? We need to find, like, I can definitely find a picture of myself in 2001 because it was my graduation year, senior pictures and all that stuff. Do you think you can find one?
I bet my mom could. I'll ask her.
2001?
Yeah. I'll ask her. She'll be able to find something.
Make it even more awkward. Here's where we were. Of course, I don't know if you've seen me. I looked like a kid. It was crazy. So anyway.
That makes sense, I guess. It'd be weird if you didn't.
Well, 18, you're an adult.
Yeah. You're an adult, but like that's what I'm realizing with Caden, right? He's 18, but he still looks like a baby to me. You know? So, which is just
and
crazy.
at that age, like some of the kids look older than, like some of them look like adults and others are baby faced and looks like they could still be like freshmen.
Yeah.
I was pretty baby faced, I guess. But
I held my baby face for a long time.
2001, though, was a banger. It was a banger. I don't remember most of it. Why are you laughing so hard?
Sorry. It's just a funny transition. Okay. It was a banger.
As far as the world, let's talk about the world first. Yeah. So we're not going to get into politics, but 2001, obviously, George Bush was president. We got 9/11.
We got 9/11.
So that all happened. I'll tell you a quick story about 9/11, I guess. I was in college. So I had graduated in the spring of 2001. So the fall of 2001, I was in college. So it happened, September, you're 2 or 3 weeks in, I guess. And I lived in the dorm and stuff. So my experience was watching it with like a dozen people.
Oh, wow.
There were 4 of us that lived there. We had buddies and whatever. So we like all experienced it and watched it all day together. And it was weird to be around none of your parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I had just left my parents. Like none of us had our parents
Kinda
with us,
scary.
or brothers or sisters. It was all, we were all friends, but it's just different to experience it that way.
Yeah.
And then the funny part of that, if there's anything funny about the day of 9/11, is that we had one roommate. He overslept all of this.
No.
I think we tried to get him up and just didn't work. And we were like, well, whatever, we want to stay glued to this. But he walks out like 2 hours after it happens, probably. And he's got like his backpack on. He's got like an 11:45 class across campus. So he just gets up and he starts walking out, and we're like, dude, like, there's no class. Like, we're being attacked right now. That was the funny part, because he had no idea. He was
That
just
is
going to
wild.
class. We'd like grab him by the backpack and pull him back and be like, dude, like, no one's doing anything today.
That is kind of hilarious.
Yeah, so, and what was going on we wanted to talk about TV,
Yeah. I have
Movies?
some movies it was an
Entertainment?
amazing year for
pop
movies.
culture.
Yeah. Just incredible year. So we got Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the first one.
Is that the very
Yeah.
first one?
Which is,
Okay.
I mean, I watch this movie probably like 6 to 8 times a year. I mean, it's like,
right now? So you've seen it like 50 times?
yeah, it's to me, it's a Christmas movie. So I watch it on repeat during Christmas. And,
Does it have Christmas themes?
they do celebrate Christmas in it.
Oh, okay.
So I guess, I don't know why it feels like a Christmas movie, but
A little bit of Yule.
Yeah.
Yuletide.
yeah, they do. But gosh, the books were so good. And I just remember this movie coming out and it just being revolutionary.
2001.
Yeah. We also got The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, the first Lord of the Rings movie.
That's actually, I guess, unpopular opinion. That's my favorite Lord of the Rings movie of the trilogy, is the first one.
I think it's Zach's too.
I enjoyed the journey.
You enjoyed the journey.
I enjoyed the journey. Yep.
I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings person because I got into it really late. Like Zach showed me the movies a couple years ago. And in my opinion, the nostalgia is a big part of them for you guys. So I didn't think it
I'm
aged
not as
super
big.
well.
I've seen them all like twice.
Yeah.
Zach's he
loves
he's
them.
the crazy one.
Yep. We also got the legendary Shrek.
Oh, the first Shrek is 2001?
Shrek,
Wow.
dude. It's amazing, that movie. Because it was like people who were like naughty working on Prince of Egypt were sent to the dungeons to work on Shrek. So they hated this movie. And so that's why it's so freaking funny.
It's so
the
good.
animation is like so...
Yeah, that was another like mind-blowing animation.
Dude, and it's so bad now when you watch
Yeah.
it. It's horrible.
Yeah.
I love Shrek. I always say that. I don't always say this. I said this once when I was fucked up. That most timelines either get Shrek or 9/11, and we got both. So
What? Did you make that up?
yeah, I don't know why I said that, but I said that once to a group of friends, and they agreed.
Well,
Seems-
yeah,
makes sense.
They came out close together. They happened close together. Do we know when Shrek
9/11's release.
was it already out? Did Shrek cause 9/11? Did it come out before?
It doesn't say on this article I have
You
pulled up.
can keep going. I'll look it up.
And then another amazing movie, one of my favorites, Monsters Inc.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that was the Pixar.
Yep.
I feel like there was something between that and Toy Story, though. No?
Something between that?
Yeah, one of the movies. Was that the next thing after Toy Story? that
No, there
Pixar
had to be
did?
movies in between. Toy Story was like 97, wasn't it? 95?
Yeah, you're right.
So there had to be several movies in between. But Monsters Inc., I loved this movie as a kid. I had little like action figures of the monsters. Well, they were smaller. They were like, but I loved Monsters
Yeah.
Inc.
And there was a big deal about the fur. They're like, there are 4,000 individual pieces of fur
I don't remember that.
on Sully.
I always remember the one character. She's like, Wazowski, I'm watching you.
Awesome. Shrek came out April 22nd, by the way, so it caused 9/11.
It caused 9/11. That does make sense in the timeline of our multiverse. That's pretty much it for movies. I do have one technology thing. Well, I have a couple, unless you have things.
Nope.
Okay.
Fire away.
I do have a technology thing. Apple introduced the first ever iPod.
Whoa, that was 2001?
Yeah, I guess so. That's what this website says.
I didn't have one.
I didn't have the original. I got the Nano Square one
Yeah.
when that came out.
Yeah.
And I wanted it for years. I begged my parents. The iPod was like the coolest thing that ever came out. And then Windows XP came out, was released.
I used Windows XP for a long ass time.
Yeah.
That was one of the better Windows.
Yeah. So that's kind of the technology of 2001 where we were at. I know in 2001, we certainly still had dial up.
Yeah, because I remember living in the dorms. There was like the commons area, and you go down and use the computer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like the hotel situation. Like
Right.
we didn't have computers in our rooms. Yeah. What about the internet? The internet was, I guess, became mainstream like the mid 90s. You could get internet, right?
That feels right.
I wonder what messenger we were using.
In 2001.
MSN Messenger or something like that. As far as music, lots of Destiny's Child on here, man. 2001. You heard Nelly. Matchbox 20 is on the Billboard Top 100. Jennifer Lopez. Train, Janet Jackson, Alicia Keys. The Shaggy, It Wasn't Me. That came out in 2001.
Oh, what?
Yep. Stained. Usher was huge in 2001. So that's some of the music. Ooh, Incubus. Incubus is on here. That the album that had Drive on it came out. Crazy Town, Butterfly. You like that?
Oh,
song?
I love that song.
It was 2001 as well. Yep. How about some slang?
That's hot.
Yeah, I took some notes of these. So this was popular slang of 2001, if not close. And I do remember these either originating or being said quite a bit. Bling. 2001.
Nice bling.
So if you get that nice bling. Saying your mom as a comeback.
Oh, they brought that back with regular show.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I guess it does. Actually, that makes sense a little bit because regular show takes place in either the 80s, 90s, or early 2000s. We don't really know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they do. That's funny.
It was funny when I came across that one because I was like, yeah, I definitely did that a few times. Getting crunk.
Oh, wow.
2001. Woot woot.
Woot woot.
Woot woot. Do people still say that? Maybe not.
No, I don't think out loud.
Yeah. You did look confused when I said it. You were like, what?
I always think like,
are there
newt,
owls?
newt.
Spelling cool. Kewl.
Wow.
Started, that was popular in 2001.
Cool.
And I do remember that. I mean, I didn't do it. That was a girl thing, I think, mostly. Saying something's tight. That's tight.
Oh, yeah. I think no. I was going to be like, some people still say that, but that's not true.
I don't know if I ever said that one.
It's tight.
Saying something is the bomb. Definitely did that.
People still do that. I still say that.
These tacos are the bomb.
Yeah, it's the bomb.com now.
2001. I don't even know how to present this. I guess using the mainstream term metrosexual.
Okay.
Which was like pretty guys.
Okay.
Have you even heard that?
I don't.
No?
I feel like I probably have heard that.
Like guys that really took care of grooming themselves.
Oh, it's just practice hygiene. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just practice. Like overly. You know what I mean. They take a lot of time to get ready and shit. Talk to the hand.
Oh, okay.
That one's
okay. Talk to the hand.
That's a cringe one.
Yes, that is.
Saying cool beans.
Cool beans.
I feel like that one's like
that one stuck around
time with some people.
Yeah, that one's not going away.
And fat. PHAT.
My mom's trying to bring that back.
Really?
Yeah, it's not going to happen though.
In what context? Like that's fat? Like
yeah,
is fat just cool or awesome?
I don't know when she said it the other day and was like, then spelt it like that, and I was like, what are you doing? So some of those will live on forever, and some of those have died.
It's already. That's hot.
That's hot.
All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about all the video games and the happenings of 2001 right after this.
Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone, or video call. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom picked for you, more scheduling flexibility, and at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/thebarn. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/thebarn.
here goes out to all the babies, mamas. Baby mamas. Yeah, go like this. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times. My baby is drama, mama. Don't like me.
Welcome back to Birds and Swords 2001. We're going to talk about all the games.
That's hot.
I'm going to start, if that's okay.
Do it.
So 2001 was all bangers, kind of like 1997 that we brought up earlier. So big reason why we wanted to start here. Games of all different. So PS1 or PS2 had been out a couple years. Nintendo 64 still has games coming out on it. Nintendo had really good releases. Third parties really started to grow. So let's start with 2001 is also when the Xbox came out. So I wanted to mention Halo Combat Evolved first, because that's what the original Halo was called, and that's what it is. And that just changed gaming, especially online gaming. There were online shooters, but anything like Halo.
Yeah.
Did you watch, and they had like TV series? Did you watch like Red versus Blue or whatever it was?
I didn't. I never got super into Halo. I played some of the later games, but I wasn't like a Halo stan.
Yeah, but it's spawned this like whole culture around it of online gamers and a fair amount of douches, I'm sure.
Yeah. I would say not as bad as Call of Duty, but
the douchey gamer era began.
Yeah, this was the start to the lobbies.
I wasn't an Xbox guy and I didn't have an Xbox. But I appreciated everything that it was. It's like, I can't have two systems and I'm going to have a PlayStation. So this is just how it's going to be.
That's how I was too.
So I didn't play Halo, but man, just a phenomenon. I'm sure tons of Mountain Dew sales just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Right alongside. I'd like to see the graph of Mountain Dew sales and see what happens in 2001 when Halo comes out. So yeah, Halo. And then GTA 3, I wanted to mention as well, because that's the first... GTA 3 is the first like third person 3D one that wasn't like the top down.
Yeah.
So that basically started Grand Theft Auto as we know it today.
Right.
Did you play 3?
I did later in life. I used to watch my uncle play it as a kid.
You didn't play it when you were 7?
No, I watched my uncle play it when I was 7, but I didn't play it till later in life.
Well, there's plenty of 7-year-olds playing Grand Theft Auto right now, I bet.
This is true.
But,
this is that, yeah.
So GTA 3, that was, man, it was set in Liberty City. Vice City is the one that came after it, which is, really beloved. But GTA 3 2001, so that basically started Grand Theft Auto. Tell us about Smash Bros.
Super Smash Bros. Melee. This was, which console was this one?
GameCube.
This was the GameCube, yes. This is the first one I played, and I loved it. I played through the story 100 times, and it was kind of... I don't know if there was ever anything like this before where they brought characters from different games together to fight each other. This feels like this was the start to that.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah, and it was just crazy to see all these characters from our beloved favorite franchises come together and just fight. And they gave it its own story where these characters like Kirby's working with Link and trying to fight this big hand. And I loved it. I played it. I was a good bonding with my dad. We played it all the time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So loved it. And I loved my GameCube.
And it was also super competitive.
Yeah.
Like people took it real serious and got real good at it.
And a lot of people still think this is the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you can play it on Switch somehow. I feel like you can just play anything on the Switch.
I think so.
I probably
it's
do
just
that
like
too
all
much.
ported or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know they sell like GameCube controllers for the Switch to play whatever Smash is on it.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So it all started in 2001 as well. That's crazy.
Crazy. And then another great one was Devil May Cry. I didn't play this one till way later. I was not 7 when I played it, but it was like probably my first hack and slash game that I really played.
Yeah, don't undersell it. This is one of your favorite franchises ever, right?
It really got me into the series that I know and love.
Is the gameplay of the first one like it's hack and slash?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like comparable to playing like the first God of War to now?
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe.
It's essentially like the same game, but they built upon it and made it better every time. Questionably with 2 kind of was not beloved. It wasn't great, but they really like it was the start of like a crazy story about demons and humans, and they just built on
What's
it.
his name?
Dante.
So is he the playable character from the beginning?
Yeah, so
Oh, he's the playable character in the first one?
Yeah, and he's playable until the fourth one. Then you play as Nero or something, some loser. And,
Loser.
but yeah, this really got me. It was hard too. It was a tough game to play. You play through each chapter and save the pretty lady.
Wow.
Yeah.
May cry.
Loved it. And the soundtrack, man, I think was a big deal too, because it was like heavy. I don't want to misgenre it because I don't listen to heavy music.
I would say heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy arcade video game music.
Yeah.
Had guitars in it and
And
stuff.
then they just built on that as well. The soundtrack just kept getting better. I even had the third game soundtrack downloaded at one point.
And I would guess this era, maybe not 2001 specifically, but this era kind of catapulted soundtracks because games were on discs and you could put real audio on there.
Yes. Yeah. Amazing. That's hot. Yeah, I loved it. Start to an amazing thing for me.
Obviously, yeah. Because that franchise has always done well. I don't feel like it's going to end anytime soon.
Yeah, they better keep going because the last game was incredible.
It'll make our futures episode.
Yes.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, although not my favorite Tony Hawk's Pro Skater because 2 is the best one, but 3, man, almost the same thing, 2001, right? So I'm playing this one in the dorm, so I've got like core memories of playing this one with buddies and trying to get high scores and stuff. It's awesome. It's just as awesome as it's better than 2, but 2 just holds the nostalgia. So 2001 Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. This was the debut PS2 Metal Gear, and it was amazing as well. They always found innovative ways to use their hardware. They still do, I feel like.
Yeah.
Find new ways to use everything. The gameplay is totally unique, and we saw even more of that with the power of the PS2. So that game's awesome too. Spooky time, Silent Hill.
Silent Hill 2 came out. I only played part of the first one, and it was too hard for me, so I never beat it.
It is tough.
Yeah, so then I didn't want to play 2 without beating 1, so I never picked it up.
So
I know that the fans the fans think it's one of the best in the series from what I've heard, because a lot of my friends really loved it, and I looked it up online before this also, and the ratings were pretty good. So,
well, if we got any Silent Hill fans, I know we do. Drop us a line and see if that's the best one or not. Conker's Bad Fur Day. This one came out on. Are you familiar with Conker's Bad Fur Day?
Heard of it.
Okay. Came out in 2001 for Nintendo 64, so it was kind of a late Nintendo 64 title. It's rated mature, but it's still a fuzzy animal game. You know, like a lot of games are like that, Banjo-Kazooie, Jak and Daxter. You know, the furry animal games, Crash Bandicoot. So it was a furry animal game, but it was rated mature. He gets hung over at the beginning. That's kind of how his whole story unravels.
What?
He's trying to figure out the next morning, and his fiance gets kidnapped and all this crazy stuff. So yeah, and you throw up places. It's crazy. The single player is insane. They swear there's even something late in the game where they make you think that your system freezes up, like it fucks with you like that.
What? That sounds crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome. But it also had awesome local multiplayer, almost like GoldenEye type, where you could do 4-player split screen, and there were all these different game modes, and it actually played really, really well. And I think I've mentioned it before, Conker's Bad Fur Day is inverted by default.
Okay.
That is why I still play inverted today.
Really?
Because of Conker's Bad Fur Day. 100%.
It all goes back to Conker.
Yep.
We had Final Fantasy X.
Is that the best one?
That's my favorite one.
It's my favorite one.
That one was just incredible. Voice acting, the first one with voice acting, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the first.
Yeah, because the disc.
Yeah, yes, yeah. It was the first one with voice acting, and the story was just so memorable. I cry every time I play it. The gameplay is such a fun turn-based strategy. The characters are so unique and creative, and the world that they created, and the chocobos.
Those choco and them birds. Was it the first one on PS2? I think it was, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 9 was on the one.
So again, using new hardware. Do you feel like, at least at the time, the CGI cutscenes were blowing you away?
It was crazy. It was I was like, I'm watching a movie. It was just mind blowing, those cutscenes, and I got so excited about them.
How old is? I think we talked about this last episode. How old is Advent Children? It's 2003 or something, right?
I think
right
so.
after this.
I think it came out right after this, yeah.
So the movies hadn't quite started yet.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe that game is kind of what started, the CGI and the rich
Yeah.
story. They were like, man, we should make like a full-length thing.
Yeah.
Might have all started in 2001 with Final Fantasy X.
Amazing.
SSX Tricky, best snowboarding game ever. That was on like all platforms, 64, PlayStation, Xbox. Like everybody played that, especially if you like Tony Hawk. Another kick-ass soundtrack. Just awesome game. Twisted Metal Black, which is my favorite Twisted Metal. They finally got like the controls down. Did you ever play Twisted Metal?
No.
Okay. It's like Destruction Derby.
Okay.
It was like hardcore for the time. Made you feel like you were hardcore.
I love that. Eco came out, which is a beloved game among everyone.
I love Eco and Shadow of the Colossus and not Last Guardian.
Yeah, I never got very far in Last Guardian, but Eco is just, I feel like I've never met someone that played it that didn't love it. And even just like looking up stuff before this, people are like, it held up so well. Even nowadays, people go back and play it. And just like we were talking about earlier, the implied storyline and how they just like throw you into the world. There's,
yeah, it's that whole, there's a deep, rich story, but there's also no story.
yeah, it's
feeling.
like the world is the story. The
Yeah.
gameplay is the story, the puzzles.
That game and all their games just make you play curious the entire time. And it's almost like they leave these empty spots and you just involuntarily just fill them in as you're playing. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? Is that too deep?
No, I think that's exactly what I was trying to say. That's perfect. Yeah, beloved game to the start of a mostly beloved series.
And they would go on to call their development team Team Eco.
Oh, I love that.
Yep.
They knew they did good.
Yeah, it's so good. And I don't know how many years it was before Colossus came out. I think it was maybe 2005 or something. But they were definitely, that was their heyday for sure.
Yeah.
Do you like racing games at all?
I played Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. That's about it. I enjoyed it though.
You enjoyed driving away from cops and
Yeah, that was fun.
2001 saw Gran Turismo 3, which was super realistic at the time. And Gran Turismo, which you've heard of, I assume, right?
Yeah,
Gran
yeah.
Turismo? Okay. It's a racing sim. And I would always tell people that when I was talking about racing games, you have like arcade racers and then you have racing sims. The racing sims are, this is how the car really drives. This is how it handles. This is its top speed. This is where the gears change. They get everything as close as possible to the car that's modeled after. And Gran Turismo and Forza now, but they kind of established that whole racing sim thing. But also, that was the first Gran Turismo on PS2, and it had that same Madden helmet reflection effect where the car
Oh, yeah.
windows and everything was reflecting off of it. So it was like the sexiest thing on the hardware, so you had to play it. But it also played so perfectly. It was like a perfect game. And that was the peak of Gran Turismo for sure. Everybody was playing that, and Forza hadn't came out yet. Like, Forza wouldn't exist without Gran Turismo 3,
Wow.
for sure.
Get the kickoff.
For sure. Tell us about the Zeldas.
So
The weird Zeldas.
yeah, on the Game Boy, what was it, Color? They released Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. And it was two completely separate games, but they kind of had a similar story. So essentially, Oracle of Ages concentrated on puzzles, and you had to save the Oracle of Ages was like the plot. And you had a harp that could take you like back in time. So that was like your thing. Oracle of Seasons focused on combat. You had staff that could control the weather, basically.
So neither one of us has played these,
Yeah, so I had to look this up.
and I want to play them now.
Yeah, right. So it gets cooler too. So it plays like Link's Awakening. Have you played that one?
Yeah.
It looks just like that. Two totally different games. It's not like Pokemon Red and Blue where you're playing the same thing but slightly
A
different.
handful of different.
Yeah. So it's two completely different games with you just need to save the Oracle, and you can play them in either order. But when you beat one, you're given a code that you put in when you play the second one, and it changes the story slightly and gives you the final boss and true ending. So the games link up together in the end.
Oh,
Yeah. Isn't that so cool?
why am I not playing one while you're playing the other? Why are we not doing that right now?
I know.
Holy shit.
I know. Isn't that kind of amazing?
Where can we play those now?
It's on the Switch.
I have to have a Game Boy
It's on the Switch.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I looked it up because I was kind of interested
Yeah.
too. Yeah. You can play both of them on the Switch.
How are those rated?
So everything I found online was that people loved them.
Yeah.
That they really enjoyed them, felt like it was a super unique experience.
I'm ready to go.
I know. I can't believe I haven't played these.
Oh.
Yeah. So that I think was,
Holy shit. Yeah. Yeah. I had always heard of them, but I felt like they, it was background side.
yeah, and they are canon.
They would
too.
always release Zelda games that we did,
Yeah, and they're canon to the story. I looked that up too.
Huh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're in the Historia for sure.
Yeah.
And you play as Link in both of them?
Yep. Yeah, you could, but it's totally different games, but they come together in the end, which I think is so cool.
Yeah, we're doing that. One of the Zeldas that I missed. I never had a Game Boy.
Oh.
I didn't have handhelds till DS.
Okay. I had the Game Boy Advance Color and the PSP.
Okay.
And then I got the DS and the 3DS.
Lucky.
I know. I was spoiled.
I spent my birthday money on something different, I guess. Baseball glove. Who knows?
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Yeah, so we need to get back in and play those. That sounds super fun.
Right?
Super fun.
So then Luigi's Mansion came out, which, I mean, everybody loved that game because it was like, you play as Luigi in a haunted mansion
like
and
a
you gotta
party game.
yeah, and you gotta like suck the ghost in with the vacuum or whatever and collect the coins. And, it was like fun, scary, like it would make you jump because you aren't
Yeah,
expecting
it's still
something.
the Mario universe.
Yeah, it's still quirky and cute and fun, but that game,
I can't believe that series is that old, first of all.
I know. Yeah.
And second, I was just looking at it. It was actually a launch title for the GameCube. It
What?
doesn't feel like a launch title, does it?
No.
Unless you're showing off the
No wonder
multiplayer-
everyone had it.
local multiplayer stuff. Yeah, right. No wonder there's 4 million copies. They're digging past ET. Yeah, I also didn't have a GameCube, so I skipped the GameCube era. I had a 64, and yeah, I didn't get the GameCube.
I loved the GameCube.
I was hardcore to PlayStation, so it was.
Yeah.
That's all.
I got my GameCube
That's all I did.
pretty late, but once I got it, I loved it. And that was probably one of my favorite systems ever.
The first Pikmin, 2001. That would start a loving little cute franchise. That game's too easy for me. I can't do it. I'm like, this is for babies.
I haven't played it, but I like watching it because it's like cute.
Yeah. I mean,
But-
there's some light stuff, It's
Yeah.
it's lemmings, basically. Mario Kart Super Circuit. That was the 64 Mario Kart. It's awesome. That's where all the best Donkey Kong tracks come from, if you remember. They're all 64. The first Super Monkey Ball.
Oh,
You ever play
man.
Super Monkey Ball?
I played it on, I think it was the Wii, because you have to like tip
Yeah.
the controller.
Yeah, lots of motion
Yeah,
stuff.
that was hard.
Yep. Wario Land 4. Madden 02. Let's take that. It's funny that they put the sports game in here. And it's always a year off.
That's funny.
You mentioned Oracle of Ages, Civ 3.
Yeah, Zach plays
was
like
2001?
4 or something, 4 or 5.
Yeah, they haven't. That's one of those. It's like Diablo. They only make one every 17 years.
Yeah.
But Civ 3, I think, is one of the more popular ones. But maybe time and place type of thing.
Yeah.
2001. Do you know anything about Baldur's Gate 2?
No, I only know 3.
Okay. Baldur's Gate 2, or at least a big expansion, was 2001. The first Burnout, talk about arcade racers. That's one where you could one of the first games where you could really damage your car and there were explosions and all kinds of high octane stuff. Here you go. You're the master. Dead or Alive 3.
I
Have you
started
played
on
3?
4. So I didn't
on
I did
4.
look at gameplay and cutscenes of 3 though. It's pretty much the same thing as 4. It's just like
The graphics are worse.
you just like continue the story pretty much, yeah.
That's about all I had that we were going to mention. Crazy Taxi 2. Didn't even know there was a sequel to that. So overall, I think 2001 was awesome. Like the original, like I said, original Halo,
Devil May Cry,
Grand Theft Auto, moving to its current format, Smash Bros,
Final Fantasy X,
Final Fantasy X,
Ego.
Devil May Cry started.
So good. A great year for gaming and for gamers everywhere. Well, that got those games launched in their area.
Yeah, or could afford them if they were born in the right zip code. I feel like, yeah, at 18, I was gaming quite a bit, but it was a lot of multiplayer stuff because of where I was in my life, living in the dorm or being late in high school and all that good stuff. There was a lot of party gaming going on in my life. That was why there was a lot of Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Yeah,
Played a lot of that.
I was watching people play video games more than anything at my age.
Didn't you say you start? Well,
I started pretty young with Bug's Life, so I did have a PlayStation around this time. I'm pretty sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
7's pretty early. Like I wasn't playing when I was 7. I didn't start playing till I was 8 or 9, probably 10 maybe.
Yeah.
So wild times, but I love 2001. I think everybody loves their graduation year. Maybe because it's, I don't know, just that year sticks out because you always know what it is. Maybe
Yeah.
you were like, fuck no.
No.
Not me.
You enjoyed school. Remember that.
So what's your graduation year?
13.
13. So we'll see if we do 2013. We might.
Yeah, we might have to do it.
So that was 2001. A lot of fun. Looking forward to upcoming episodes of going through the years, playing some raunchy music, and reminiscing.
That's hot.
That's hot.
That's hot.
Indeed. Bling, bling. Your mom.
The bomb.
We will see everybody next time. Alyssa?
Goodbye.
Come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar, baby. Come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar, baby. Such a sexy, pretty little thing. This April bitch, you got me sprung with your tongue ring. And I ain't gonna lie, cause your loving gets me high. So to keep you by my side, there's nothing that I won't try. Butterflies in her eyes and her looks to kill. Time is passing, I'm asking, could this be real? Cause I can't sleep, I can't hold still. The only thing I really know is she got sex appeal. I can feel, too much is never enough. You always there to lift me up when these times get rough. I was lost, now I'm found, ever since you've been around. You're the woman that I want, so yo, I'm putting it down. Come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar, baby. Come my lady, you're my pretty baby, I'll make your legs shake, you'll make me go crazy. Come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar, baby. Come my lady, you're my pretty baby, I'll make your legs shake, you make me go crazy.